welcome to another episode of Chatty Broads with Becca and Jess.
I had this big life shift that I'm still trying to really extrapolate out because there's so much in it. But, you know, I've been in show business for like 30 years and I've been in TV for most of it. And then when I quit doing Antiques Roadshow and I would do other side gigs and stuff, the same process. I'd come back home and the first thing when I come home is worry and desperation and fear. Where's the next gig coming? And the delusion that I was still working in TV. Right. And now I'm exploring in my life the gap where we live between what is and what we wish things were.
Okay, guys, welcome. We're here with
Broads. We are in. We are in.
Is it happening? It already started? Oh, man.
Broads, we have been with our guest right now for the past 20 minutes, and we have already covered like 17 topics. We are so excited because...
Apparently not as excited as me.
Let me tell you something.
our biggest fan.
Let me tell you something, Mark Walberg.
Yes, ma'am.
I have the intention of bringing you here today to ask you to formally adopt me. So that was I'm like,
Done.
Just to be
will
her
you
father.
let me become part of your family?
And by the way, you would be the only adoptee that my kids would be grateful to have in the family. Like you up our quotient.
Well, the Broads know we have talked quite frequently about you on the show. Mark Walberg, Temptation Island, you know how we feel about it. In our opinion, best host ever. No questions asked. And you agreed to come on the show, and we were so excited.
I may cry already. I really just needed this for catharsis. I just needed to be with you and just let it rip and feel better. So thank you.
Can you host our show for this episode, actually?
I really, I'll do whatever you want. I'm just here to be of service.
Okay, my first question for you is, how good of a host of The Bachelor do you think you would be?
Because you know that would be our dream scenario is to have you be the host.
All the shit went down and continues to go
Yes.
down. Obviously both of my followers are all over my Instagram sending me messages saying you should be the host of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
And it's a double-edged sword. Some of it is like you guys, which is really beautiful. And some of it is like, he looks just like Chris Harrison, so just do it and nobody will notice.
Right.
Like that
Sure,
hurts
sure,
me.
sure.
Although it's so
you're
true.
mean.
And here's what I'm good where I am.
Yeah.
And for a couple reasons. One, my show, which looks toxic as fuck. Can I say?
Oh,
Upsetting.
anything you want.
I'm full grown. I can say what I want. Is really, like I keep telling people, my show looks like porn and feels like Oprah. Right? And whether it is toxic or a train wreck or whatever, I know who I am in it. I know what my intention is in it. And I'm really grateful that nobody's discovered that you're giving me free reign and you're just letting me do my shit.
Right.
And I don't know that there's a role for me to do that on a show like The Bachelor. And The Bachelor is wonderful for the people who love The Bachelor, including all of the women in my life. And I love The Bachelor people. But, you know, I don't know if that's my jam.
Yeah, it's like
Although
they would
if they
have
offer
to.
me a shit ton of money, I'd probably just...
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you mean I can have a house?
The show's going to go on anyway, so,
whatever.
might as well be a part of it.
But they would have
truly,
to-
I don't even know if that's the case because I really, really realize how unique and really not even logical that I've got this job at my age where I'm talking to really young people about the challenges of young life from my perspective, and they're buying what I'm selling a little bit. And it goes back to this whole epiphany I had that just my head exploded and about intention and not so much about plan, and it's more about being and when you're being an intention, everything shows up for you. So the plan reveals itself as joyful things to do, not this plan to a destination I picked.
Right.
And I mean, am I getting too heady?
No.
A little heady? So I realized that while Temptation Island may not have been the show I would have come back to, and I had a story about how it may have wrecked my career in the past or whatever, what it is now is this really connection for me to this audience that I really cherish.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of creative license hosting that show? It sounds like from what you're saying that you do, in a way.
It has become the most joyful experience of my career.
That's so cool.
And the more I stay in what I'm talking about, like the acceptance and the accepting what is as opposed to what I wish things were, the more I find myself surrounded by people with that like mindset that support it. And so, it doesn't look like what I thought I'd be doing. I thought it would look like a Dr. Philly kind of something. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know that was my voice. I didn't even know it was going to be about talking about the real stuff. I thought I was going to just cheeseball host it. Right?
Okay, so you didn't think that you were going to go there.
I came out doing what I thought the job was. When I started in reality TV, there wasn't reality TV, right? Then I went into a time capsule and reality TV became a whole thing. And then I show up on the set with pros in the field who have an expectation of what talent's supposed to do, but I'm doing me. And they were like, I've never seen anybody do this, right? And then season 2, I tried to be the good boy and just do what I thought the producers want, and I got yelled at right off the bat. They're like, what are you doing?
Do your thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm hosting. Remember when you yell at me and says, don't produce, host? I'm hosting. And they said, well, we need you to do you. And I kind of lost
Actually,
my
we
shit.
need you to produce after all.
What was that?
I said, actually, we need you to produce after all. That's kind of what it ended up being.
They basically said was let it rip. And I said, okay, well then, I have an earpiece. And it's really more about in between the breaks saying, okay, here's where we're going, whatever. But occasionally I miss a question, they'll feed it. And I said, so, okay, this is the former executive producer. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do me. But if it's too many words, I don't want you in my ear saying move on. You're going to have to fucking edit it
right.
because I'm in it. I'm not paying attention. This is not a script for me. This is,
You're in your flow.
I'm doing my empath thing. I feel you and we're having a conversation and I don't even remember what we say. You're going to have to cut it down and decide how much of me you want. And quite frankly, from my seat, the less of me, the better. But they were like, go. New executive producer who had worked under him, who took over, who I will take a bullet for, Trafari, who's just such an enlightened, beautiful soul of a woman. We don't even really brief anymore. I know she's there and she's got my back. And I know what's going on because I'm not checking out. But when we sit down and have the conversation, that I don't have an agenda. I haven't looked at the clips. I'm not trying to lead the story somewhere that's juicy. I'm really about, okay, where are you right now? Let's watch this together, which is really unhealthy and painful. But then let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. And having that support and the freedom to do it is something you don't get in show business ever in TV. And I have it. And I always try to make a point to let them know that I'm incredibly grateful, and nor do I diminish what is being given to me, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't take it lightly. That's why I'm really, really attached to all the contestants and am friends, or maybe not friends, but I have a relationship with like 80% of them, including the singles. Like I'm constantly obnoxiously dadding it.
Okay, let's give for the listeners, let's break down the format of the show for people who don't watch and to get a little background before we dive into more of that. So, and you can probably explain the format of the show best, but I'll say it simply and then you can clarify. But like from watching the last season, you've got couples on who want to test their relationship, I guess, see how strong it is, if they're gonna make it or not. They're separated on this island. And then there's a bunch of singles.
It's actually an island, by the way.
Is it really an island?
It's an island. It's Maui. It's
an
island.
I thought it was in Hawaii. I wasn't sure. So then there's a bunch of single women on the men's side, a bunch of single men on the women's side. And how many weeks do you guys film?
All together, it's like maybe 35 days.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
So pretty long.
That's a long amount of time.
I
to
always
be
describe
separated.
to people, if you ever went to sleepaway camp, that a day is a month in relationship
totally.
time. It's not like you call somebody up and go on a date Friday and then you talk to them Wednesday and you go on a date Saturday. And, and 6 months you've had 12 interactions. Mm-hmm. This is all day, every day with no other distractions.
Way more than The Bachelor, actually, because like on The Bachelor, you maybe get a total one-on-one time, probably less than 48 hours with the person that you're dating because they're dating so many other people. Yeah. But so these people are living together for a whole month, separated from their partner, and then every week the partner gets to see a clip of the other partner.
Yeah, it's not every week in real time, but it's every week in
every
episodes.
episode.
So pretty good, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
Okay, nice. Good
Yes,
spark
for
notes.
couples that we say are at a crossroads in their relationship. They've been in long-term dating relationships, but aren't sure they want to go forward. There's something that's got them stopped. And they agree to do this, which is to give each other, I'm using all of their verbiage, the permission to be single again and run that out. And then at the end, they decide if they're going to stay together or leave with somebody else or leave alone. And what I love most about the show is, as opposed to every reality show that's come since, there's no prize. There's no other agenda except for your journey, which to make that watchable, well, actually, you don't have to do anything to make that watchable. That's all we want to watch. But there are really very little format, games or contrivances. You don't have to.
Right. There's little parties and whatnot, but it's just people.
Well, yeah. I mean,
interacting.
certainly, when they have like a, anything but clothes party, of course, somebody suggested that.
Right.
And all the duct tape
That's
was there.
produced,
And
right.
it's like, so we're wearing togas. Where did they come from? All of that obviously forced right down their throats. But the talk, so I stay in my world.
Yeah.
I don't see any of the drama.
So you're really only seeing the clips with them, and that's pretty much it.
Well, that's my choice.
Yeah.
So first of all, I don't see them living all day long. Like, I'm not watching from a booth. I get a hot sheet every day of where we think things are going. I think that's important to know what's going on. But that's their world. And so
Bless you.
bonfires are my world. I do date selections and other stuff, which I dig. I love the chance to hang out a little bit because I get to feel them, which is important to me. But let me just be clear when I say feel them.
Hands off.
There's no touching. I'm emotionally feeling.
Yeah.
But the bonfires, I say to the crew when we start, I'm like, guys, I know we're doing TV. I know all of you and you're all top game, but let's keep things quiet. There's a vibe here. It's a very vulnerable thing, even if they're pretending. And I might be the most gullible one. They may be just, fronting for TV.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is real for me. So let's, work quiet. Let's protect this vibe. And everybody's down. And so when we do these bonfires, I choose not to look at the clips ahead of time because I don't want to indicate. And I don't want to set it up like, you feeling really good about this? Well, watch this shit.
Right.
And I also think that looking at the clips is really painful.
Yeah.
Not for what is in the clip, although sometimes, but really this is indicative of how we are when we're all wrapped into our own head, is that we project immediately on something out of context, everything in our heart that feels broken. And that's what I hope to help navigate just by virtue of the fact that I'm older and I've fucked up more than they've tried.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, broads, interrupting our amazing convo with the Mark Walberg, the only one that we recognize. Here's a very not hot take for you all. Something as necessary as birth control should not be as difficult to get as it is. Not everyone has access or time to go to a doctor every time they want to or get or change their birth control. And thanks to the Pill Club, you don't have to anymore.
The Pill Club carries over 120 FDA-approved brands. It ships to all 50 states, and most brands of birth control are free with insurance or Medicaid. Otherwise, prices start as low as $7 per month without insurance. And once you've settled on the brand that's right for you, the Pill Club delivers your birth control right to your door for free in discreet packaging, along with self-care gifts.
All you need is 5 minutes. No, seriously, just 5 minutes is all it takes to sign up for your birth control delivery. No more office visits, no more waiting rooms, no more lines at the pharmacy, just 5 minutes and you're done. And if you ever do want to talk with someone, the Pill Club's licensed medical team is just a text away and ready to chat all things reproductive health.
Right now, when you go to thepillclub.com/chatty, the Pill Club is offering a $10 donation to bedsider.org for every Chatty Broads listener who becomes a patient. So that donation will help low-income individuals get access to birth control through bedsider.org. It's pretty cool. So go to thepillclub.com/chatty. That's when you'll get your first birth control care package, and at the same time they'll donate to help more women in need of affordable birth control. So remember, go to thepillclub.com/chatty, and you have to use that link in order for the donation to be made.
I am one of those people that require a whole lot of variety in life. Otherwise, I'm out. Variety is the spice of life after all. But the one area that this especially applies to is in fitness. If you're one of those people that can do the same workout class with the same instructor every single day, I love that for you. But that is not the way that I can roll. I need to keep things fresh if I want to stay motivated, which is why I've been loving Peloton.
If you only think of the bike when you think of Peloton, boy, do we have news for you. The Peloton app is where it is at, baby. I love it. Whatever kind of workout you're into, and even the ones you don't know you're into yet, Peloton has ready to go. From boxing to guided running. I love the guided running, to yoga, to bar, so many more styles of classes. They have like little arm weight classes that are only 5 minutes. So you've got no excuse, you know? There's always something new and different to check out. And the instructors are really, really good. As cliche as it sounds, you forget you're working out. The time goes by so fast. They are the best instructors on pretty much any fitness app I've ever been on. I'm obsessed. The time goes by fast. I'm always feeling it the next day though, it's the best of both worlds.
The thing I love the most about the Peloton app is that it seriously fits into your schedule. If you've only got 15 minutes, there are tons of classes that will kick your butt. Whoever said you need a lot of time to get a good workout in? Or maybe you have an hour but want to fit in 2 or 3 different type of workouts to keep things interesting. That's what's so great about Peloton. The options are truly endless.
For a limited time, try the Peloton app for free for 2 months, then $12.99 a month after. New members only. So visit onepeloton.com/app to hear more. That's 2 months free at OnePeloton.com, and offer expires January 31st, 2022. Terms apply. I think what's really interesting, and I would love to kind of segue this into what we're gonna have you therapize our audience today.
Okay.
So people sent in, we actually particularly questions about cheating and relating to their relationships and all that. So I think that'll be really interesting. Yeah. But to kind of go in that direction, one thing I find really interesting watching the show is how people say they come in with rules or no rules, but oftentimes if there are rules, they are vague. And if there are no rules, usually one or both people do have rules in their head that they're still expecting the other person to follow. And it's very dramatic because it's for reality TV, but it also seems to mirror real life stuff a lot too, where there's a lot of assumptions that, okay, we're on the same page, even though there hasn't been a lot of clarifying direct discussion.
100%. And I break down the rule thing every season. And without trying to be I try not to be condescending.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's adorable that you have rules. Like, it's adorable that you think that that's how that works. And how has that worked out for you so far? Because, and I say to them, I know what I can assume maybe what your hope is or what you think is happening or whatever. And then I said, I think in this season, and I'm not even supposed to tell you this, but I don't think they're going to fire me. So I said, look, just so you get it at this final dinner, your relationship is gone. Because I know that the journey you're going on, you won't be the same person at the end of it, even in this contrived reality thing. So that relationship that you relate to, that you applied rules to, and the reason you're here and pointing fingers and all that, you have broken up. Because the two of you who come to the final bonfire won't be the same two people if my work is done right and your work is done right. And then you're going to see if there's a relationship that matters. And so, I mean, the rules are cool. But and this goes to maybe some of the questions about cheating and stuff. I'm like, look, any schmuck can go 30 days without banging somebody and run the gauntlet. That doesn't mean you haven't cheated. Right. Doesn't mean you've grown. Doesn't mean you've explored or figured out what drives you to behavior. It just means you ran the gauntlet on TV.
Right. Or even trust.
Look,
too.
I can do intermittent fasting. There's nothing to gain there.
Right.
It's in the failures and the mistakes and the stretching out of your soul where the truth comes. What? That was really heady. But you know what I mean? It's like if you don't go somewhere, you're not going to learn anything. And the whole rules thing is bullshit. It's like, it's okay if you're if you cuddle, but you can't kiss.
Right.
Or you can be on the beach, but you can't be in the bed. Okay, and what does that do? It's the same thing like with a dog. As soon as you tell them no or tell a child no, the first thing they want to do is do exactly the no.
Yeah.
And more importantly, one of the biggest problems in all relationships is my imposing a will on you and you imposing a will on me. And I'm constantly saying to them, it has nothing to do with them. And more importantly, whether it does or not, for these next 30 days, you don't have access. So the only thing you can work on is you. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Let's just turn it back to because we get the love we mirror. We make the flower bed for love the way we think it should be. And what I try to coach towards or follow is, and I ask all the time, what do you want it to be? And not what you think is possible, what you don't think is possible. When you fantasize about love, what would feel just joyous to you? And let's just make that your intention and see what shows up.
Yeah.
You know?
And what do you want from,
because then what you want from the other person is less because you fixed it.
Yes.
So, and I'm doing all the things they just told me in the car not to do, but I'm doing it anyway. I used by the way, anything I say that, like, as the kids say, if I drop good bars at the bonfire, that shit came from my wife teaching me not to be an idiot.
There you go.
Okay? So
that's right.
Yeah.
I got you, babe.
Bless.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she crammed down my unwilling throat is Ram Dass, who actually died and lived in Maui where we shoot. And she showed me a quote that I shared this season coming up that I think is it. He says, in love or in life, the only thing I can do for you is work on me. And the only thing you can do for me is work on you. And if you run everything through that filter, it gets real clear.
Ooh, yes, that's really good. I also,
clip it.
Yeah, that's a clip. Lee, cut that for our YouTube clips.
Got one clip.
No, I think what's also really interesting, like when you were just talking about the rule thing, I was listening to a podcast recently, and if you've listened to us at all, we are always talking about non-monogamy things, because I think there's a lot to learn in this conscious modeling of what do we want our relationship to be like in a way that's very tangible, not filled with assumptions of what a relationship is supposed to look like. And I was listening to this podcast episode where the host was talking about rules in particular, because that's one thing, like with non-monogamous relationships, oftentimes there's very clear like rules, or there can be.
Sure, polyamorous or whatever we want to call it. You know, you can do this, but don't do that.
Yeah. Well, and she talks about that, and she goes, essentially what you're saying is, she's like, what you said, imposing your will upon another person, and like, are you really coming to an agreement, or are you forcing someone to do what you want them to do? And
then that works, we think, only because of the codependence of the relationship. So you enforce a rule on me, and my codependence of wanting to please you is why I'm following the rules,
and the fear of losing you, right? Yeah,
or fear of you yelling at me, or even baser than that. But it's not the same as a relationship that both of you stand on the footing of understanding that I am you and you are me, and we is more important. And
we're a team, yeah.
And I want you organically happy. I don't want you to have to stifle any part of you, right? I want to be the one who blooms you, not prunes you.
Yeah.
Well, in that vein, I was curious. I know another clip.
Yeah.
In that vein, I was curious. I'm like, have there really ever been any couples who have gone on the show who both equally wanted to be on the show, like, or in that position? Because it seems to me like every time you're watching it, it just like what you guys are both saying is there's this like one person wants to try it and the other person's like, okay, sounds good. And there's this.
I guess my answer to that is the part of me that is like, I talk a lot of fluffy stuff, and I'm pretty positive and idealistic in a lot of things, but I'm also a realist. And I say to every contestant off camera, like, by the way, the first time I meet them is when you see me meet them on the beach. Like, there's no, hey, we're going into this. But then after that, and we're setting up the next shot on that first day, which is a blur, I always pull them aside and say, look, let me be clear about this with you guys. I'm here for you to grow and to leave this island in a better place than you came here. And I'm here for all 8 of you. And be clear that I didn't say all 4 couples. Okay? And I'm also hip to the hustle. So, and I don't care. So, and I always say at the first dinner, why are you here? And they get, well, we have problems in our relationship that we're trying to work out, and he's to this and I'm to that. And I say, well, I say that's part of it. And the other part is that by coming on this show, you're going to hang out in Maui, and then your Instagram's going to go crazy, and you're going to get the blue check you think is going to make you a better person, and you're going to have, you know, all these products to sell, and it's all good. And okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that as bizarre as this is, it gets real. I don't care why you're here, what you think the hustle was.
It's going to
be real sooner than later. So the sooner you lean into this, and I'm here to support you in that, the more you'll get out of it. And if you try to keep this, hustle going, you'll get less out of it, but it's still going to get real. And the path to finding love, authenticity, self-discovery, is also the thing that makes influencers popular. So if you came here to hustle the show to get more followers, or you came here to find out about love, if you get authentic, they both happen. It's the same path. So I'm saying the F word a lot. I don't care.
We're bad influences.
No, I think I'm trying to be cool in front of you. But I think that it doesn't matter because you don't have to have it figured out. And you chose to come here, and it's a really bullshit way to do this. You need to go to a family therapist or talk to a family or whatever it is for you, but you're here now, and it happens to work pretty crazy. But authenticity is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
And you can't be authentic if you don't know who you are. So all I'm going to do is talk to you about who you are and what you want. And let's create it. Let's create what you want, because I don't think you ever have really defined it. And that definition constantly changes. And when you get connected to what makes your soul sing, the choir shows up. The partner shows up, right? We need to be buying, not selling, right, in love. We're constantly going, and I've heard women say this to me, and I got to be frank, I connect stronger with women. And I feel like we as men have we have a burden to carry of disproportionate burden of what we as good men have to do to mitigate the years of predatory behavior by men.
Sure.
Right? So I lean towards the women, and I'm, I'll die on that hill. But what I'm constantly trying to let them know is, look, until you know who you are and what it is you're missing and what it is your own story is telling you about you, you're really not going to define a healthy love. And it's really okay to be, what you say, broken. But I also tell them, I'm like, the thing you hold as a secret that you think is you're broken is the thing we love about you. It gives us purpose. It lets us know that you're not perfect and we're broken. And so that's where relationships grow, is that you bring all of it and find that there's someone in the world that can accept all of your ugly, right? And I hear women say all the time, I'm dating this guy, I really dig him, he's awesome, and I'm giving it like 3 weeks before I show him who I really am. So I'm like wearing the baseball hat and I'm watching football, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? What is that? I mean, I get it, and I've done it.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen is you're going to go, "Blah," and then who are you? Instead of if you were buying instead of selling, right? You'd be like, I'm all of this. All of this is great, and now I'm going to just see if you get to have some of me. If you fit me, not can I fit into you, so that I can check my box, which is I've got a boyfriend and I get to go to weddings with a boyfriend in my 20s because that was my schedule. And by 30, we're married with the house and the dog and the kid and all of that predetermined bullshit that is not the way the world works.
What if you're on the opposite spectrum of that, where you're always buying and you're like, even with the partner you've already committed to, and you're always going,
okay,
I don't know if this is what I bought. This is maybe not the product that I thought I signed up for. I don't like this. I don't like this. Or hypercritical.
Hypercritical or discontent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, off the top of my head, my answer to that is it also comes from a part of you that has not been explored about what are you afraid of? What are you protecting against? And what hairs are you splitting because your ego is telling you that these bullshit things matter enough to break a relationship, when in fact, the core of things is all that matters. We're all going to get on each other's nerves. What you want is the person you could say, baby, I love you, but you're getting on my nerves, so I'm going to take a walk.
Right.
And her not take that personally, or him not take that personally. That's healthy ebb and flow of relationships are doomed unless you can get to somebody who sees the real you and has bought it and you're not pushing and you're okay. And by the way, so that you're clear, this is an impossible place to get to and stay to. You just need a partner that knows that we're trying to figure it out together. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like my wife and I got married 2 weeks before my 25th birthday. She's much older. She may have already turned 26 at that point.
Age is older.
Yeah. And we grew each other up. And I also tell people, back to that plan, like you all, so many of you say, I want to get my shit together before I commit. Well, I say commit and get your shit together so that your shit, your stuff, is a we, not a mine and yours. And we're going to be together, but we're not really together. Mm-hmm. You know, there's the part of us that's together, but there's my shit and there's your shit. Now, in a healthy relationship, it's a we, which means some of it I don't want to impede on you because I know this is your world that you need, but it's still we. Me giving you the space is our we, right? But let me get my world together by the numbers before I then add that other box, which is spouse or partner. It's just bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The ride is what's important. The mistakes together are I always get asked, you know, my wife and I are going to be married 35 years, assuming we don't blow it before August. I think we're going to be all right. And people ask, what's the key to a happy marriage? And I usually give some really long answer. And my wife says, why don't you give them the real answer? We love each other. I'm like, never even thought of that one. But the one I give is we love each other, but there's a definition far greater than love for me. And it's, we love each other always. We like each other often. We lust after each other. That's fluid, right? Mm-hmm. But we need each other always, and need defined as I don't exist without her. And those moments become clear to you when, like, say you go to the doctor and they say, "Oh, you might be dying next week. We got to do a test." And you panic, right? That panic, maybe you don't panic, but I panic. And there's only one person where you feel comfort. Whether you like them or not, that's the only place that's comfort for you. Well, that's home. That's need. We need each other. That's why we partner, not because it's cute and fun, but because we can't do it alone. We can, but it's not as easy and it's not nearly as fulfilling.
So you're not defining need as codependency. You're defining need as
in water, food, partnership.
Yeah, love. Social, deep connection with other humans.
I can get there with fast food and Coke and no love.
Yeah.
But I won't be living the fullest life, and I'm not going to be what's really important, which is I'm not going to be joyful. And I like to break that down as joy is my favorite thing in the world because it's selfish and selfless at the same time. You do things to feel joyful, and selfishly you feel better. But it's impossible to be joyful and it not be expressed as a gift to others. You can't go to Venice Beach and watch somebody living their life, even if you're not into rap or whatever is going down. You can't experience somebody living their best life and not find some joy in it. And that's out of yourself into the place of connection.
Well, I don't know. Some people feel resentment towards people that are living their life in their, truth. And sometimes people, and I find myself doing it myself sometimes, where you're just like, but it's because you probably aren't in that space yourself.
Well, it could be two things. One is you have to have a conversation about why it makes you feel less than when you see other people having, like you have it that it's limited. Like if they have it, it took it from you, as opposed to it's limitless. Mm-hmm. And the other might be that what we think is looking at somebody living their best life is them humble bragging the shit out of stuff.
Sure.
Which is toxic.
Trying to be pompous.
Look how awesome I am. And I'm really living my best life, so make sure you see me doing it. As opposed to observing somebody living their best life, having a joyful moment, and you not just gushing with tears or joy, seeing it.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's what I mean about joy. And when you can be in even the most minor of a joyful state, you're connecting to a vibration that makes a difference to the entire world, in my opinion. And it's not deeper than that. And we get into this list of what has to be. And I'm like, you can either resent or fear, or you can accept and be joyful. And those are the only two switches. Everything else comes after that.
I selfishly have a very particular question, but I think it's one that a lot of people in partnerships will relate to. Oh, okay. Your partner says something, and I see this a lot on the show. Your partner says or does something that's a neutral action, right? It's not good or bad. But you get in this sort of feedback loop where that neutral thing is interpreted as an attack, as negative, as criticism, and both people are stuck in this constant misinterpretation and this automatic assumption that the other person is saying something to hurt them or doing something to hurt them. I was reading an article about it on do you guys know the Gottman Institute? It's like an institute for relationship study of relationship stuff, and they did a study on couples, and some couples had the opposite, where someone would say a neutral thing and the other person would interpret that as a uplift, like as a compliment or something uplifting to them, when they're very in love or whatever. So how do you navigate out of that way of this automatic interpretation that this person is attacking you?
First of all, I want to acknowledge the language you used to make that point because it's dead on. For me, interpretation, story, projection is the human condition that my wife and others who are dear to me have led me to troughs to drink from these wells to kind of get these distinctions and definitions. And so the human condition is and this is the best example I can get. You walk into work and somebody that you've given your power away to says, "Oh, is that how you're wearing your hair today?"
Uh-huh.
And that's a neutral statement. Right. It's just their statement.
Right.
You immediately said, you heard, he hates my hair.
Yeah.
We call it story. It's not real. It's the soap opera you create all the time based out of your ego and your concern of how people see you. Mm-hmm. Right? So neutral, like we feel like if I said things are empty and they don't have meaning, that sounds negative to most people who haven't had this inquiry. Mm-hmm. But what if empty and without meaning simply means empty and without meaning and just is? It's just ising. You know what I mean? It's being, right? And so for me, because by the way, there are no letters after my name. Anything I'm saying could be full on bullshit, sure. Okay?
Mark, you're a doctor to me, okay?
Well, malpractice. But for me, in my exploration of this wacky ride, is that I get to choose in every interaction. I get to choose my relationship to that.
Right. And
neutral is neither good nor bad. And by the way, good or bad is a trap altogether in almost every case. There's replace it with acceptance or resistance. Things are what they are. The good or bad is what you decided they are, right? And it's not that. So, and by the way, it's not that he didn't think your hair looked shitty. By the way, your hair looks fabulous. Yeah. But that's not for you to decipher nor to be concerned with, only if you're measuring yourself by what he thinks of you.
Yeah.
Right? And what's most attractive, when I go back to the buying and selling, what I find most attractive in the world is the not needing of anything. You can desire things, you can manifest things, but the need and want are like the magnets that turn around. It's crazy. The more I want it, the further it gets away. As soon as I don't want it, and that goes to how I got Temptation Island again. It's like this ridiculous, illogical thing that happened within 3 weeks of an intention shift that has happened to me so many times in my life that it's like people look at me and go, "How do you access this magic?" And I said, I do it by accident, but now I'm trying to choose it. And it really comes from, like I said, I don't know, but before we were on the air or whatever in the parking lot, because I haven't stopped talking. The gap between what is, that doesn't have any meaning, it just is, and what we wish things were, is the story of human condition, which is where it all breaks down. And and I hate to use the cliche hashtags, but gratitude is just, it's not as, again, that's not a good or bad. Gratitude is, I'm just aware that all things serve me and no things are at me. Nobody's conspiring against me. There are toxic people that are conspiring against themselves by making me the bad guy, but they're really just killing themselves. I'm not drinking. They're drinking the poison and expecting me to die, right? But acceptance, just go easy. It's just work less. Everything that shows up to you, you have a choice right then to have a reaction or an action or acceptance. And reaction is what we're thrown to do. It's our protection. It's what we do. I react all day, every day. By the way, I sound like just the greatest dude when I'm with you. And my wife is probably throwing up right now. Like literally throwing up in a visceral vomit.
That's how I feel when I listen to Gray on the podcast. I'm
Right.
like, what planet are you living
Who
on?
is this man?
Or she's probably going, and who taught you that, motherfucker?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
All of my hours.
I got you, babe.
Nowhere without you,
This is
babe.
codependence at its finest, right here. So I don't know, man. But what it is, from my seat, and I think this is why things are kind of interesting with me right now, is that I feel younger today than I've felt since my 30s. I felt old in my 30s, scared. And what I've been reflecting on lately is that the challenges of young life, the 20s are a blur of booze and bad choices, which is exactly what they should be. But then what happens is there's this story you wrote of who I'm going to be when I grow up, and life starts to happen. And it just won't fit into boxes. So now in my age, which is, I was born during the Reconstruction era after the Civil War, at my age, I feel younger because I resist less. And I'm just, what have I got to lose? Right? I'm not trying anything. I'm not trying. The only thing I'm trying to do, and try is the wrong word. What I'm committing to doing is catching myself when I'm trying or wanting or egoing or whatever, and just get quieter and just go, you're good. All's okay. Just chill. Let it come. Now that doesn't mean, this is like when you get back to that thing that was really popular when everybody was watching The Secret, and everybody's like, all I got to do is like do a vision board and I'm going to be rich, So there is action that needs to happen. But I'm not a big proponent of plan, because plan leaves out the possibility of the divine making crazy shit happen.
Me and you both, Mark. Don't like plans.
When have you done a plan? By the way, people do a plan and they get the result. The result is the one that you, who is not divine, well, you are, you can connect to it, but you, through your sight, picked, and you got there. And in the process, what did you limit yourself to because you picked a destination with no possibility of a detour? And there's so many books that, again, my wife forced me to read, and I would only read like the first line of each chapter, and then I would
That's all you
quote
need.
it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, how do you know this? I'm like, oh. But there's this one book called The Mutant Message Down Under, which is a parable book. It's like, I call it like a 3-poop book. Like you can read it in 3 times in the bathroom. And basically, it's these Aborigines take this Scottish woman or something for this walkabout, and everything that happens, they look at as a gift. Everything. Locusts, or like at one point, these flies just inundate them, and she's doing all this, and they're just standing like this. And afterwards, the only one who will talk to her says, in the heat of the day, you're sweating and you're choking and everything, but we're not, because those flies that you thought were pests cleaned our ears and our nose and everything so we can breathe and deal with the heat better than you. That was a gift. And all I'm saying is every bump in the road can be a gift. And the plan thing limits you. And I am, I did like 2 semesters of college and barely paid attention in high school. I'm way not educated in traditional sense. But here's a quote from Hamlet, because that makes me look really badass. But I use this in every speech I give. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. And I've proven this in my life a million times. The things that have happened in my career and in my life aren't just coincidental and crazy. They're illogical and against anyone's plan of how this should happen. And that's what you want to access. You want to access the openness of let the universe do their thing. Because she does some crazy shit that's well beyond your imagination for success or love or like, I'm not supposed to be. Do I have time? I'll be quick. I spent 30 years in show business, very successful with moments, right? And bankruptcy and then success and then whatever. And then ever since Antiques Roadshow, which was a really wonderful show.
Did you host for Antiques Roadshow?
I was the host for a bunch of years, but at the people around me, this is not their problem, and this is not a slam to Antiques Roadshow. Who I was at Antiques Roadshow was a little bit bitter and stifled, and it was the opposite of Temptation Island. They wanted me in a box, and I resisted the box. The box wasn't the problem. My resistance was the problem. But anyway, my TV...
That show has come up so much recently for some reason.
Crazy, right?
I was just talking about it like a week or two ago. Anyway, continue.
So...
maybe it's time to make a comeback, you know?
Well, it's still going. They just got rid of me.
Is it really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The show's never going away. It's like an institution. But they outgrew me, and and I love them, and they love me. It's just... It's what is. What is, not what I wish it was, right?
I wish you could come in and talk to the people after someone tells them it's worthless, you know?
That's what I wanted to do, and that was one of the
Yeah.
things. I said, there's so much going on. I just want to be with them. And they're
So
like,
many
it's about the
emotions
thing.
happening, expectations.
But I'm going to really bury myself if I go down this road any further. The point is, so I was on that show. I wasn't really doing any other TV. I have a bunch of side hustles I was doing, you know, speaking or going out and hosting live events or whatever. And then... but the TV thing wasn't happening. And I was aging out of what I had it planned was the popular age and what the rules are and how it's supposed to be. And I came home from being on the road and immediately got into that place that makes my wife go, I can't stand you. And I'm just waking up in the morning going, if I send this email or what if I pitch this idea? This is a good idea. Or all these want, chase. And I got tired. And I said, I'm not doing it. I quit. I quit. I later broke that down into a cute little acronym. But what I did was I quit. I got quiet. I looked at how I was feeling. When I was feeling a certain way, I labeled it. So Q, get quiet and figure out what you feel. You. I can't remember this. I don't even want to go there, but it doesn't matter. What I ended up doing was anytime I felt broke, forgotten, irrelevant, I did something else that made me feel better. And for me, it was building something outside, planting stuff, or just looking at it, or hanging out with my chickens, meditating. But sometimes it was literally go in my chicken coop and smoke a little weed and just watch the chickens be just chickens. The point was, every time I felt myself go back to the want, need, grab, I said, check yourself, go do something else, and you'll forget why you were discontent. And I started to just go, okay, as long as I'm just feeling good, positive, that's really what's important. Not a week after this, I get a call for the show that, again, plan looked like my vision of what was perfect. It was local. It was enough money that we don't have to worry. It was all about crafting and building and DIY and all this stuff. And I'm perfect. And no one watches it, so you won't be famous. So that's great too for me because I don't like that at all. And they called me in. So as soon as I make this shift, all of a sudden a casting director is calling me. Okay, that's crazy. It hasn't happened in 10 years. I go in and do 2 test shows, kill it. Go home for 4th of July going, I got this. 5th of July, you didn't get this. We're going with somebody else. And on that same day, I see that the show I did in 2001 is being rebooted, Temptation Island. And immediately I go to, that show killed my career. Everybody thought I was gross. It was like sexy, and but it was a different time. And they're not going to be me, and just my luck, right? Like all that human shit, right? So then I get a call to go to the meeting. I don't call anybody on it. I'm not even trying to get it. And I go to this meeting, and I describe this as the scene in Shawshank when Morgan Freeman goes up for the parole board, and you see him go up all the time. Like, yeah, I've rehabilitated. And then finally he goes, he says, the guy says, do you think you've been rehabilitated? He goes, I don't even know what that means, Sonny. Do I feel bad about it? Do I regret my decisions? I want to shake that 18-year-old back then, but I don't know what rehabilitated means, I'm just basically living my life, and go ahead and stamp your paper. I have no attachment to what you say. You don't define, am I safe? And of course, he's approved and he goes. So that's how I go in the meeting, not even trying to get the job. And the next thing I know, and I'm telling you 3.5, 4 weeks from that epiphany moment I said, here's my reality. You're getting paid more than you've ever been paid in your career. You just were able to put in your deal that you don't go without your wife, because that's something I've never asked for, but I decided that's important. We fly first class to Hawaii to get into this gorgeous suite where there are 170 crew people that are treating me like royalty for no apparent reason. And all they want me to do is wear sick-ass clothes and sit in paradise on a box and talk about what we're doing right now that I fucking love doing. All right? That's back to the Hamlet quote. That's not a reality I would have put in a plan. My plan is I'm going to smoke a joint with my chickens and end up in Hawaii talking about life. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think it's like there are a lot of things you're saying is so interesting, because there's the flip side of it, which I think the best things in life are, there's like the
duality,
ugly side of the coin and the really good side. So when you're talking about what you're saying, like what I'm hearing is you're detached from the outcome in like the best way possible. So there's the bad side of it where you can be like, I don't give a fuck what happens, in a really reckless, harmful, destructive way to yourself and the people around you.
Because that's not really not giving a fuck. That's saying I'm not giving a fuck to get a reaction to people because you give a fuck.
Right.
I don't need to say more, but I think, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, in you saying it, I heard it. It's not that I came to that. I heard you say it, and then I'm like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
We like to, whenever...
It's inauthentic.
You're
right.
It's inauthentic,
You're not
and we see it all the
yeah.
time. Yeah, sour grapes. I don't give a fuck about that.
And also, you can't, even in people who are villainous, let's say online, on TV or whatever, and they do things even that might be, you're like, I'm not sure if you should have done that. When someone is actually being authentic in that I don't care about the outcome, I don't care if I piss people off, and they're being truly authentic in it, you can't help but be like, I kind of like that, right? You're like,
contagious.
I kind of like that.
Because, absolutely. And it really comes from when somebody's being real.
Yeah.
We don't have to project on them anything.
Right.
We're not trying to glean.
Because you're seeing them as they are, right?
Yeah, and we're not trying to take who they're being as a statement of who we are. Like their being and my relationship to them is more about how would they feel about me, or am I better than them or not as good as them? And if I'm not as good as them, do I resent them or want them? And it's just all a swirl of needing validation, when in fact, we get to validate ourselves without anybody else's help, just by saying it doesn't really matter.
Ooh, okay. Tying this back in now to the thing we were talking about with rules. In that same podcast, she was talking about how there's a lot of language that people use now. They use the word boundaries instead of to replace the word rules, when in fact what they're talking about are rules, right? That's my boundary, but it is, if you do this, then this is what's going to happen.
That's ultimatum.
Right.
Right. Boundaries are important, but that's holding yourself in esteem.
Right.
Which when we were in the kitchen, I was talking about the swirl of all the things that I'm flipping out about. That's me not putting myself on my own list, which is, look, let me be clear. All of this stuff we're talking about is elusive. You don't hold on to it all the time. You're constantly trying to check and recheck and rebalance. That's why we do things like meditate or take a bath or go for a run, is that we have to recalibrate all the time, because the human condition is to survive at any means necessary and take no prisoners and realize how fragile it is. Fear, right? And it serves purpose. But you're exactly right. It's like we can choose our relationship to any of it, and we don't need anybody else to tell us that we're okay. We are okay because look, nothing's happening. Like, we're okay. We can have a list of shit that we're worried about, but right now, I guess I'm okay, right? I'm breathing. I'm here. I'm fed. I'm not hungry. After that, everything else falls way down off the list. Yeah.
I was just thinking about how, we can't put boundaries on other people either. We can only control how we're going to be related to the situation. And just what I'm hearing is like, and a detached, if we're going to talk about neutral things, detached seems to have a negative connotation, but in everything you're saying, I'm hearing like, oh, detach in in a healthy way, right? Detached from, I love my partner, but I'm not a part of them. So they're going to do that, and that's going to have the most consequence for them. And right, like that's, I don't know, like I'm just thinking through all these.
The best way for me to support you, my partner, when you're going through whatever you're going through, is to not project how it affects me on you, or not project even emotionally what I think you should do or not do. And this is a classic male-female breakdown that happens a lot. I hear a lot of women say to me, we don't want you to fix it. We want you to say, I understand, which was a learned skill for me, not a natural thing. A lot of men, it doesn't really break down gender-wise, and I'm really working hard to explode my preconceived 1950s version of anything gender-related. But there is a propensity in some personalities that my purpose is to make sure you're okay. And if you're not comfortable, I'm not comfortable. And as someone who feels things hypersensitively, that's been a survival technique of mine all the time. The trick of detachment is you're not comfortable, and that's okay. Me being uncomfortable for you or trying to manage your discomfort isn't going to make you any better.
Or feeling responsible for your discomfort either.
Better might be to say, wow, you're in it right now, huh?
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
I love you, and I'm here whether you're in it or not.
Yeah.
And you don't need really much more than that.
Yeah.
Unless you ask.
That just hit me to the core.
I
know that literally just, I'm starting to get teary. I'm like, that resonates so intensely because I'm very much wired that way. Like so wired in the way that, like, whether it be with some of my best friends or my partner, where it's like, your discomfort makes me uncomfortable, and I need to react to that by fixing or by again projecting how you feel and all these, or even
things. Mirroring emotion. Right.
Know that anytime I'm in a situation where we're talking about this stuff and it looks like I'm the coach, and I say this off camera to them all the time, anything I say that resonates is not because I said it to help you, it's because you showed up for me to make me say something I need to remind myself of. So all these things that I'm saying are not that I've mastered this, is that I'm still in it, fucking that up regularly, right? The difference is at my age and with my experience, I'm no longer content to say it's not me, and more into not fixing me, but being aware when there's two me's. There's authentic me and ego me. Right? And being aware when the ego takes over, or the kid, the pain body, as Eckhart Tolle would call it, or all these writers talk about it in different ways. Deepak and then Ram Dass, all of them talk about this person we identify with, which is that hurt child, or this authentic new you, which is the only you. And it's a constant battle.
Yeah.
Who's running today? Who's running the show today? And so my wife is constantly saying to me, don't coach me right now. And I say that to her. I don't need your coach. I didn't ask. So we have a joke in our house about unsolicited advice because we are exactly that. If you're not comfortable, see, here's the thing about that. When people say good or bad, right?
Yeah.
You're having a bad day and people are like, well, I want to help you. Let me help you. Here's what you should do.
Yes.
What you're doing is, we're all empaths, different levels, right? You're out of balance. I feel it because there is no empty space.
Right.
This is all us, right? We're all moleculing, right? But my ego wants my discomfort and your discomfort to go away. So I'm not trying to fix you. I'm trying to make it so I don't feel your pain.
Right.
Right? Yeah. And that's selfish.
Yeah. And and also we're so taught that though is love, right? Of like.
Preach.
Wow.
Preach.
And like.
Because most of the dysfunctional behavior we do is from a place of is misdirected love, which is what Al-Anon, 12-step Al-Anon, which is the sister organization, sister program for AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is loving detachment. I can't make you not drink. I can love you in a healthier way, which is not to save you, shield you, shun you, any of that. Just you be you, and I'm going to be me. But the authentic me is that I love you, and you can make your mistakes that aren't my mistakes, And if you need me and you ask for me, I'm there. But I'm not going to race in and say, she can't really handle this, so let me handle this for her. Right? Because really what I'm doing is making sure I feel better about your discomfort. Mm-hmm. All about me. We can always do that test. This is the test I have to do all day long. How much about me am I being? And usually it's 90%. And I have to knock it down. Enough, Walberg.
Yeah.
Take it down. Mm-hmm. And even when I say that, I'm like, Walberg, oh, that's the other guy. And then I feel bad. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, there's just a swirl of not feeling enough all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if we don't, and this is the thing on Temptation Island, if you don't feel enough, how are you going to love somebody else? Mm-hmm. You're just going to suck them dry. Right? Yeah. Or project all over them all the time and blame them for your misery that you get to control.
When you're saying that, it was like, I'm thinking about my relationship with my husband, where for a really long time, I was like, the jealousy was just through the roof. There, I had experienced stuff in childhood, whatever, that added to that. But in maybe 6 years ago, it really shifted. And when you're saying this, it's really resonating with me, where I'm like, sometimes people ask, like, well, what changed? Like, and I sometimes try to come up with reasons like, oh, well, my bipolar kind of leveled out a little bit and we started communicating better and I pulled away from like toxic church culture and da-da-da. But really what it was that I started to like actually engage and like care about myself and love myself. And I allowed me to just be me and love me. And then I was able to actually see my husband for who he was instead of just projecting everything on him constantly. And that's what shifted.
Can I ask you, the more that you were able to discover a love for yourself.
Yes.
Did you, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you to share it.
Yeah.
Did you find not only that your husband's love was deeper for you, but did you find sort of ancillary people around you loving you more?
Like wildly more.
Okay. So this is the magic. Right?
Yeah.
I'm able to access this on stage. Like, I have trouble with intimacy, which I'm working on incessantly, one-on-one. Like, I get uncomfortable because the vibe is too strong.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming
intense,
to me.
Right, yeah.
But I can walk in front of 5,000 people and be intimate with them because that's very comfortable for me.
I resonate with that for sure.
Okay, broads, one more quick pause. Can we all just appreciate how amazing it is that in the palm of our hand at all times, we all have a professional level quality camera at our disposal? I mean, it's kind of incredible that using our phone can take some pretty amazing photos. The problem is that most of the time those photos never make it past your phone's photo albums. But with the help of FrameBridge, you can simply and easily frame all your favorite photos and make your memories last forever.
God, I love FrameBridge.
So good.
It's easier and more affordable than ever to custom frame everything that matters without leaving the house. That's like the only way I can get anything framed is through FrameBridge. From art prints and posters to, yes, those photos sitting on your phone, you can FrameBridge pretty much anything. Just to get started, go to framebridge.com. You can upload whatever you want to have framed, or you can send in the physical pieces directly to FrameBridge. I'm pretty sure they can send you a little poster tube, like whatever you need. They make it so easy. You're going to be able to preview your items in dozens of frame styles and gallery wall layouts, and even get recommendations on what looks best from FrameBridge's team of designers.
Once you pick the perfect frame, the experts at FrameBridge will get to work and deliver your finished framed piece safely to your door when it's done. I've used FrameBridge to print so many family photos from my phone, and even created a little gallery wall in the house, in the bedroom. It's so sweet. And with the help of our online design team and FrameBridge, it was such an easy process and it looks so good.
Get started today. Frame your photos or send someone the perfect gift, and go to framebridge.com and use promo code ChattyBroads to save an additional 15% off your first order. Just go to framebridge.com, promo code ChattyBroads. That's framebridge.com, promo code ChattyBroads.
Listen, broads, I don't care if you've been married for 20 years, single for 6 years, or in a it's complicated situation with that cute coworker of yours. Everyone deserves a little bit of self-love around Valentine's Day. Relationship status be damned. Go ahead and treat yourself. And what better way to treat yourself with that brand new lounge set or pretty bra from Third Love?
Specifically, a piece from Third Love's newest Deco Lace collection.
So good.
It was designed to make you feel sexy 365 days a year. If you're new to Third Love, let us explain. Third Love is the online shop making bra shopping painless. and, dare we say, enjoyable. You're going to start off your experience by taking the online fitting room quiz. It's basically like having your own personal shopper, and the quiz will ask you about things like breast shape, size, current likes, dislikes, and then boom, you're going to get personalized recommendations to help you pick out the best styles for you.
Third Love has so many styles and sizes. I promise your perfect bra is out there. They even carry half cup sizes. But the thing I love most about Third Love bras is how freaking comfortable they are. From the moment I put on my first one, it was obvious that Third Love is obsessed with the details. The straps were soft but supportive. The lining was perfection. And the bra was cute on top of all of that. There's really nothing else you could ask for. Third Love has 100,000 5-star reviews online.
Holy
okay.
cow.
Like that's proof enough. That's wild. I can confirm they are not lying. It's true. They're the best. But on the off chance that you don't love anything from Third Love, exchanges and returns are free for the first 60 days.
Feeling is believing. Upgrade to everyday pieces that love your body as much as you do. And right now you can get 20% off your first order at thirdlove.com/chatty. That's 20% off at thirdlove.com/chatty.
Pardon me?
I said I resonate with that for sure.
Right.
Like being scared to, dance or sing or be vulnerable in front of 5 people, but 5,000 people,
Come on.
5 million people, who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
But the more that I can just say, I accept all of this and giggle at the stuff that's yucky and even celebrate the stuff that's awesome, the more I see that what I've maybe created, that's the wrong word, what I made space for are all of the personalities and things, not just personalities, but experiences and successes and finance and everything that are waiting to be in my world, but can't break that bubble of resistance, right? That it's attraction and push away, right? And I hate to use all because I hate the feeling that I'm going to give you this way for you to, make $1 million tomorrow.
Sure.
Buy Bitcoin. That should work. I think that's what but what it's about is space. It's not about doing, it's about space. It's clearing. So when I can love this and not have the drama of all the, we talked about misguided but loving work, which is that I'm feeling you, so therefore I'm doing this. Well, I'm also responsible for this is an Oprah thing. I'm responsible for the energy I bring in the room, right? And if my energy is needy, whether I've defined it or not, what space is there for love? I need to clear it out. I need to sweep it out. When I can be at least not in love with myself, but at least accepting of even the fact that I'm not particularly thrilled with myself, but I accept it, all of a sudden, things show up. So back to the plan thing, I say, and I'm working this out. It's not proven scientifically, but lately I think we've seen in the world that science is not so important to anyone. I found that the more accepting I am, the less energy I spend on resisting or having an opinion even leaves this opening. Back to what you were saying about is that negative or positive, opening, empty, that feels like I'm not doing. But it's in that opening that things fill in that become a plan that I didn't pick. Right? It's in the opening with me going, I'm not calling about Temptation Island. I don't even want to do this. It's like whatever. That the call comes that I was begging for, can you come and meet the executives? Right? As opposed to me sending an email saying, hey, I heard they rebooted the show. I hosted it before. Can you get me a meeting? Right?
Yeah.
It was the space that happened in my chicken coop that allowed those people who really want to be with the real me to say, how do I get some of that? Come to my office. And then if you follow that rather than push that, it starts to glow clearer. You know when you need to push through resistance that's there for a reason, that you need to work hard. And you know that you're beating a dead horse. You kind of can sense, am I, constantly ask, am I heading in the right direction? What? And then you start to get in this inquiry of, am I just, is it the kid or is it the authentic person that wants this? Right? And if I can just not want it and just be okay with what I have, then I get more of everything.
Yeah. And you can also stop missing things that are right in front of you. Right. And so I'm even thinking on a much like the more confined level, just thinking about having a partner and thinking about how my pattern is often to pick apart the other partner. Right. he is not doing enough of this. He's not serving me in this way that I need him to, which also when you were talking about needs, it made me think our actual needs for our partner are probably way shorter of a list than we communicate or think they are, right?
Yeah.
The actual things we need are much smaller. Now, so I was just thinking about that.
It's so good.
I was just thinking about that and being like, okay, so yeah, I need this from you. I need you to behave in this way. This is getting all caught up in all the ways that this person isn't enough. And obviously sometimes you're with a person that you guys are very mismatched in where you're at in life. I'm saying that, very nicely. And sometimes you need to like cut the cord with that person because it's not a good fit for where you're at or whatever. But just thinking about like, if I and a lot of times it's coming from me not being enough, right? I've been sitting all day thinking about how, I'm never going to be on top of work enough. I'm never going to be present enough for the kids. I'm never going to be off my phone enough. And then your partner comes home, or I'm talking about my life, partner comes home, and then you're like.
Talking about all of our lives.
Right.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you.
Right. And you're like, well, you didn't wash the fucking dishes. That would be helpful. Mom. Like, that would be helpful. I've been getting the kids ready for bed, and like, you haven't done that,
And haven't you seen what I've been doing and what I've got going on? And,
yeah.
And now it's personal that you didn't wash the dishes.
Right.
It wasn't just that you didn't wash the dishes. You didn't wash the dishes at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That was on purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
To make me do more work because you don't recognize how much work I do or
I'm going to
whatever.
wash the dishes at you.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Carpal tunnel. And this is your fault.
Yeah. And by the way, I expect you to pick up, this, that, and the other tomorrow. I think there is a culture right now, where it's like, you're the one that is not serving me in the way, instead of like, maybe I'm the one doing that shit,
Well,
maybe there's a problem
let's play
with
this
me.
Matrix game for a minute. What if all of the experiences are entirely created by you?
They are.
Because I say they are.
Well, the neutral thing, the empty thing, right? Like,
because I've created some miracles in my personal life and my career life that shouldn't happen in moments of accidental zoning, like the zone, like the athlete zone.
Yeah.
Like I tripped and fell into a ditch of zone. And then all sorts of shit started to pop off. And I'm like, wow, how do I do that again? And then it's dead. I want to do dead. Instantly dead. Right? So that's the thing I'm playing with. I like alchemy. I like the magic. I need shortcuts because I've wasted 30 years of my life not doing the plan of savings and this and that and the other. So I need some shortcuts to the big stuff. I need to like find the portals.
Yeah.
Right? It's like investing. I don't have the luxury of long-term investing anymore, right? I got to make a profit quick. And what I'm playing with is there's a whole world of magic. It's like this accessible area that's all around us all the time, but we can't see it or feel it or get into it. But then occasionally something rocks your soul and you forget about you for a minute and you're in it. You don't recognize it except for the quiet. Whose husband was it? It was your husband. Was saying that when he's working and doing something, his mind's blank. Well, that's what we want. Mm-hmm. That's back to the empty and meaningless. Empty thought is really comfortable. Any other thought, even desire, is discomfort. It's not peace. It's desire feels good, it's sexy, but it's also a wanting of something. It's an urge. Mm. And when you have no urge and all of your things are sated, you're fully accepting and so ready to love and be loved. Mm. I mean, how great is it if you're single and you're on a date to be projecting or not projecting, but to be being, there's nothing I need from you. I'm good. Let's hang out. I have no agenda of need. I'm not waiting for you to be an idiot. I'm not hoping you pay the bill. I'm not making a rule that I won't kiss on the first date, but I will on the third. I don't need any of it.
Or like,
unless I want it now and it's here.
I bring this up all the time. What one of our guests, what Eric said when he was on, which blew my mind. Someone in a follower asked, when do I tell a guy that I'm interested in a serious relationship? And our guest who was here, he was like, why are you going to say that unless you want a serious relationship with this person? Why are you desiring a serious relationship?
What's the declaration do for you?
Yeah. Right. And if there's not the person in front of you that you want to have a serious relationship with, then like you're desiring something that's not even there, right?
Yeah,
like
you're just
even
meeting
bigger
this
than that,
person.
you're declaring now I would like. And what that does is negate what is. By the way, I'm saying this stuff as I'm working out on my feet. This is what I'm playing with.
Yeah.
But I'm playing with the what is as opposed to what I wish. So the whole concept, you just exploded my head on this. Let's play with this a second. We're courting, we're dating. There's something that attracts us, usually starts physically, right?
Yeah,
sure.
And now we've agreed to go on a date. And immediately, and from mostly, the female point of view often, just the dynamic of the way we've ruined things, is, let me suss out, am I wasting my time?
Yes.
Is this going to go anywhere?
Right.
As opposed to
Just a fuck boy.
nothing is it just a fuck boy, or is he not quite as much fuck boy as I want, but he's a good earner.
Yeah.
And he dresses well, so I can take him to parties. Honest to God, I say this for comedy, but this is absolutely where most people live.
I mean, sure. And we're going
1,000%.
Right.
pro con. Right.
As opposed to if I had at least an understanding of completing of I'm good. Like I'm good. I got all the love. Right. I got room for more, but I'm loved. I love me. I'm good. Then that dinner is not a date. It's something you did for your own joy to share with someone else that, if nothing more, gives you some mild curiosity, even if they're obnoxious. And there's a movie that is not a spiritual movie that I like. I tell this to all the women who come to me with dating problems. I'm like, watch Along Came Polly. I'm going to let that just resonate for a minute because that's not one you would think is self-help. Polly doesn't, the movie I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. She didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
She's all over the place.
Yeah.
And the Ben Stiller character is everything about this is so uncomfortable. My wife is a perfect example. I'm from the South. I spent my whole life trying to look like that Southern gentleman. I was also a smaller guy and Jewish, so I was scared. The white guys, I was everybody's Jewish friend, so I had this chip on my shoulder about, and I developed what I used to call women's intuition, but it is essentially empathic intuition, which is not, by the way, another thing, I don't want too many words, but we always say I'm an empath. It sounds like, look how great I am. Empath is more of a curse than a blessing.
Yeah, don't get me started, you guys. Except that our guest the other day called me an empath, and I was like, how dare you? But
Except
couldn't talk.
I'm playing with, what is the thing that makes me different in this? Why do I feel things at this level? And it's not that I've been blessed or cursed with empath. It's that it was a survival skill that a lot of women have to develop simply because you're smaller than men and the victim of physical crime a lot, to suss out instantly, is this guy strong enough to help me get through the winter without killing me?
Yeah.
Right? And so I always say, like, in the surface level, when you walk into a bar to hook up, a woman looks at you, a guy's like, oh, it's all good. I hook up with anybody. Yeah. And a woman looks at you before you come to the door and has decided whether you're on the no list or the yes list immediately. Yeah. And then you can be on the yes list and get on the no list, but you're not going to go from the no to the yes. It's just, we sense immediately. All us broads. So,
and that can also be influenced by your self-worth, right?
It's 100%.
So you can look at someone and say no because you're like, I am not worthy of that kind of
course,
love or attention.
Of course. But what I'm getting back to, that dating and declaring this is going to be serious. Yeah. Okay, that's cute. But like I always talk about she, the universe, whatever, because I don't know what word to put on this that won't alienate somebody and make me look like a heathen, but which is what I am. It's already a serious relationship or not. The relationship doesn't get defined by it's now serious, does not phase as a relationship. Relationship is, always is. We're in a relationship now, and it's glorious. But in the date, if there was no agenda or want, you just be being with a person you made a decision, hey, what might be fun is to have a meal with this person. And then the curiosity of learning more about them, even the stuff that you had previously, the old you, the child of you said these are bad and good, are just things. That if you're completely filled up, you can look at those things without any attachment to that gets on my nerves or doesn't get on my nerves. It's just curiously interesting.
You know what?
Then it becomes serious when it's serious.
You know what all this requires, though, that I'm like realizing the through line?
Wine?
Pause. and it all comes back to time, because in order to be able to see things clearly, we have to pause and really see them for what we are, not with the automatic immediate filters, of like, in order to be able to see things neutral, we have to stop and pause and really see
dangerous. Them. And that it feels dangerous to our ungrown up person, but it's not dangerous, but it's in that danger that I talk about in Temptation Island. That's where the good shit is.
Yeah.
Because you're exactly right. What we've done is, what you've just said is, we are protecting ourselves from hurt by wading into the water and saying,
yeah.
As opposed to if we were bold and courageous because we're not afraid of pain because we've had it and we know what it is, and it's self-inflicted most of the time, and it's avoidable by just accepting what is, because pain is also a relationship. It's just a sensation we say is a bad one, as opposed to just a sensation of life, which is another level that I'm not at, but I'd like to get to. But in that moment, we don't have to trepidatiously enter. Like, I know it's bad. Like my wife said, what I loved about you is that I liked you immediately and just waited for you to turn into a jerk, which apparently happened 20 years after she committed. But the thing is, we're constantly about us. It's all here. It's all in our world.
Right.
And it gives no room for us to be about you. So in hosting, I say this all the time, the blue cards in a talk show. You ask the question, they answer, you go to the next question. I think that's bullshit, because the good stuff happens is when I'm with you. So I go into a bonfire, which is 8 intense, intimate interviews in one night, right? Because it's not, I'm talking to the 4 of you, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you, and then we do it again. And the only way I know how to do that is to just listen and take I don't even think of things when I see Aaron tonight, I want to say this. It's a trap. Right now is all that matters. And if I can just be with you, and it has no meaning, then we can be. And that's what serious relationship is that I don't need you to make me feel safe. I'm safe.
Yeah.
I do that for me.
Right.
And that gives me room to take all of you.
Right.
Even the toxic part, because I'm immune.
Right.
To toxicity. I feel it, but it doesn't kill me.
Well, and also when you're saying like, you're all in the moments, all that matters. It's also like, I have so many thoughts going through my head right now. But when we're talking about like,
I'm having so much fun, I can't even deal. And then my own self-doubt is, how pompous are you at this point? How much pomposity have you thrown through this mic?
No. We're exploring.
I am just so honored, and I just got choked up again. And I'm having so much fun. So, all right, go ahead.
Okay, so here's my thought.
God, I'm embarrassed.
Here's my thought. So like being present in the moment, that requires no fear of wasting your time, right? Because that is that's kind of a construct which we live in a society that is all about.
It's a delusion entirely, because you don't have time to waste. It's not yours anyway.
No, exactly. And also we're in a society where we have to be productive with this idea of what is and what is valuable and what's not valuable use of your time. If we could just sit with what is, like you said, even if we're in a date with an asshole, you can think this is a waste of my time, or you can think, well, this is kind of a funny story that I'm going to tell my friends
part
after.
Of your experience.
It's reframing. Like,
well, even deeper than that, this is a waste of our time. Comes from there's a destination you're trying to get to.
Right. Because you're not present. You're looking at what you want to come from the experience.
Right.
You're to the plan, the end goal that you're trying
to get the perfect guy
and you're
that
trying
goes to weddings with me.
Right, and you're trying to fit that date and this experience and how you're spending your time to get to point B instead of like, maybe I need a release point B. So
remember when you said earlier there are villains who are authentically villains, but we still dig them?
Right.
I got lots of people in my life that are just like, what the fuck? But I love them. And then I have some people that are barely idiosyncratically evil, but it triggers my things that I need.
We know that well,
and then I can't be in the room with them at all, and it's not their fault.
Right. Yeah. Well, then that's the thing you got to remember is that it's not.
And I'm throwing shade all over the place going, look, I'm a victim of you. Look what you're doing to me. When in fact...
On my TV screen while I'm watching you on reality TV.
Other people are far more toxic, but I can hang with them because they're not hitting me where I live.
Yep, that's true.
Right? And there's no way to predict that.
Yeah.
And the only way to do it is to laugh and slow your roll.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. And dig into what the fuck is wrong with you, right? And now as you're saying all this, I'm just thinking of stuff in my own relationship where I'm like, I need you to do this. I need you to show up for me in this way. Because like when you say this thing or do that thing, it brings up all this past hurt. And it's
That's okay to say.
Well, it is, but then when the expectation is shift this, shift that, so that you don't trigger that hurt place, instead of getting down to the healing that I need to heal, instead of trying to make this other person do an obstacle course so they never hit the thing that hurts me.
This goes back to the phrase boundaries and how we misuse it, but you just crushed it because this is why bouncing off of people is so helpful, because it's helping me crystallize a lot of stuff. That I won't put into a TED Talk because I don't take action. And then both my followers will again be disappointed. What crushes is, wait, take me back to what you just said.
No. So the boundaries thing, I was saying instead of making my partner do an obstacle course so they don't trigger the thing that hurts.
The difference is, and here's what you said that I think is powerful for me. I feel it's really important to say when you say things like this, it triggers this part of me.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Right? But let me share with you why.
Let me get vulnerable about my pain, right?
That I may never have verbalized.
Yeah.
And that letting your partner know it's illogical that what you did was you being you. I have a trigger there's no way you could know that has me react to that in a way that makes me feel like you have made me a victim. The truth is, all of that I said exists within me. And by the way, if you cut me open, it's not there. It's all a made up soap opera. I'm watching Guiding Light and you're not in it, but I've made you a character.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Brooke Shields in Friends when she thinks Dr. Draco Mori is Dr. Draco Mori. Like you're making them Dr. Draco Mori all the time, and they're not even aware they've been cast in the movie, right? And I do it all the time. We all do it. And what's elusive about it and difficult, and why all poetry, music, and prose is written about the difficulty of love, is that no one knows where our triggers are, and there's no rhyme or reason to what triggered someone. We can't navigate that safely. There's not going to There's not going to be a guy who inherently can walk the squid game of your triggers without dying.
Or an influencer or a podcast or anyone, right?
You know
One person can show up for you
You're
perfectly.
going to step in shit.
Yeah.
Now, how do we navigate that? Maybe the answer is what my wife's taught me. Why don't I share with you why I'm reacting to you? Not what you did to me, but what you might not know. You'll feel my shade, and then you'll react to my shade and take that personally. And now we're spiraling down like every couple.
Boy. Yep.
And then we don't talk about it, and then it builds into these rock solid granite resentments that end up in divorce. Or, wow, when I was a kid, my dog died and it made me uncomfortable. And I processed the mean that if I do this or this happens, that means I can avoid that pain. So when you said that, that's what came up for me, and it's not your fault. And I'm sorry I reacted. I want you to let you know that's what you're experiencing from me, and it has nothing to do with you. Lets them off the hook. And more importantly, just by having said it, you've done the therapy work for yourself.
Because you've recognized.
That goes back to, that quit thing that I forgot. But get quiet and label how you're feeling, not why you feel that way. Don't justify it. Don't blame others. Don't victimize it. And it's not even, I feel that when that happened, blah, blah. I feel uneasy. I feel angry. I feel resentful. Not why. What am I actually feeling? Check into the now, like I said.
Which requires the pause. Yeah,
right.
It's like.
The pause, right.
Yeah.
What am I feeling? Oh, wow. Why am I feeling this? What in that made this happen? Now I realized it had nothing to do with you at all. How would you even know that this is a thing? Right? You biting an apple and slurping the apple makes me crazy. Why is that? It's not your apple eating. It's some other person that ate an apple like that did something that I felt was wrong, even though I was a child and processing it all wrong. Now you're that person. You're the person from my childhood. But I didn't even know that, and I'm blaming you for it. Now you have your own triggers, so you feel the blame, and you either shrivel or get defensive. Now we're in a fight or a silent game.
Right.
Or we smile and don't acknowledge any of it, and we live like the white farmhouse people that don't say anything. And then 30 years from now, one of you comes out as, having, some other alternate lifestyle and you went out. And the other person sucker punched because they had no idea. Well, the fact of the matter is that's bullshit. You had every idea. You were just so in your own ego to not be enough aware of other people and your own discomfort, and you've had no conversation. So back to the need thing as opposed to the love and lust thing. In a relationship that's relatively healthy, and when I say healthy, I mean it's mutually unhealthy, but you're both aware of it.
Sure.
Right? That's really a better way of saying it. You're just mutually fucked up, but we've agreed that we know this.
Yeah.
But that relationship allows a space for, if I always say this as a joke, but my wife and I don't divorce because whether we love or like each other, we know that we can't live without each other. So fuck it. We can yell at each other and scream at each other because neither one of us is leaving. Because I'll be dead in a week. I will be on the couch with crumbs of Cheetos and just self-destruct, right? I need partnership for me to show up a lot of the times. And because we've created a relationship I call it full contact marriage, like yell, scream, whatever in the moment, if we take it personally and we sulk and we do all the stuff, but not to the point of lasting resentment. And even when it is lasting resentment, we laugh and say, I've had this resentment for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. And so then I bring up the other cliche I use all the time, which makes me fall right into just like corny dad, which is, what's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Okay. The second best time is today. I can't go back and plant it 20 years ago, but I can start a tree today and it won't be as tall as that one could have been. But could have been, should have been, would have been is, again, not what is. And you're fucking yourself.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. Okay, why don't you answer some advice questions?
Oh,
okay.
Thank you, Mark. I'm like, I'm
No,
like,
thank you,
no,
guys.
I'm like, you two are, and I'm literally in my brain. I'm truly spiraling right now in a positive way, just like kind of tapping into
before we
like
do this.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that comes up when you say that? Like, what's the first spiral that is in your face?
Immediately. I think all of my years of jealousy with my husband came from what I would say a fear of him cheating on me. Seeing that with my family growing up and experiencing that as a kid. But the truth of the matter is, what I was most scared of, and I would put it on him, was I'm so scared of knowing myself and knowing if I cheated, like I couldn't forgive myself because of what I saw with my family and like what that did to like us as kids. And so it's like I almost like project it on him. Like I know my partner's going to do it because I'm so scared that like I won't love myself if I do it.
I love you so much for sharing that. I used to lay in bed and soothe myself to sleep as a child by imagining my parents divorcing or dying. Because when my dog died, it caught me so off guard and I was so crushed that I said probably the best thing to do is prepare for and act out all of the bad things that could happen, which later, by the way, turned into chronic anxiety, which I thought was self-soothing. So what you've said that's helpful for me is that your fear of cheating is not your fear of him cheating. It's placing others who've done things that your child was hurt by, not your adult, but you as a child was hurt by, and projecting them onto the screen that's him because all are the same. And you're living in that quadrant, which is what hurt as a child, which even then, let's even talk about the pain of cheating. Anyone who's been cheated on feels the pain of you cheated on me. But what actually happened was they cheated for their own pain, which is not as blatant as they're more desirable than me. I needed the sex to be better. I am in love and I'm not in love. It could be a million reasons to act out that way. It could be the same as, and not to diminish this terrible thing, but cutting self-pain and things like that are just a manifestation of pain. Cheating, behavior, hoarding, all of these things are behavior that the behavior isn't the thing. It's the pain that's unaddressed that finds a way out, like a pimple.
Right. And I know.
And more importantly, it's not at you. He didn't cheat on you.
Uh-huh.
And I know that when I'm thinking about, my then real like gut is I'm so scared that I couldn't then accept and love myself if I did that, knowing what I've experienced in the past. Sure. Is that I'm very aware of the pain piece of it, where I'm like, I'm so aware that I'm like, if I were to cheat, I know it's because I do not value myself like I need to. And I'm the insecurities, it's like, it feels very visceral for me. Right. So there's something about that and locking into that with a partner and projecting that, because it's like, there's this mirror of like, you have a family history of cheating, you know that like, if you were to do it, guess what? It's likely, because you feel all these deep feelings of unworthiness. By
the way, the more that we feel them, the more we manifest that it's going to happen.
Yep.
We create, that's what I'm saying. We have to make that bed for love to be healthy. That's what I say to the kids, my family on the show. I say to them, look, I constantly saying in the middle of a sentence, tell me what you think it should look like. Because if we can vision board a healthy, not even healthy, but a fantastic fantasy like Frozen fantasy, like Disney fantasy of what love is, we've begun to create what is actually possible. But if we don't have a definition of what love is, then we're going to create really dysfunctional love as it has been modeled to us. Questions?
Yeah. No, yeah. Also, just to add on to that before I ask these questions, I was just thinking too of like
about cheating, so a segue.
yeah. Well, just also thinking of like selfishness, narcissism, all those things are manifestations of like usually like a childhood deep unfulfilled need, like someone not loving you the way you need to be loved. I remember watching the season 3. What's his name? Who is really the villain of
Kendall?
The season?
I was going to bring him up.
Kendall, and I actually do remember watching it and we'd be like, oh, this guy, what a fucking, this and that. But then thinking like towards the end of it, I was just like, damn. And you said it actually on the season.
Reunion.
You said it, and I had been feeling it, and I was like, damn, yes. It was like, I feel so bad. Like,
I went through the whole season going, well, it started with the first time he hooked up, I got yelled at by the producers because I said, I want to go in and say, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
This is not what this is.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing in a bevy of women for you to hook up with.
Yeah.
And by the way, let me be clear. There's no sex shame in promiscuity for me. I don't draw a line of when you have sex, how many dates or what it means. It's not intimate for some people. It's just whatever. You get to do it. I'm questioning what your motivation is. And if you're just here to hook up, not on my dime, motherfucker. And they said, you need to back that down. Let's not shut this down.
Yeah, let's let this play out a little for reality TV.
And I'm like, okay, but I just need to let you know.
But that's how I feel, yeah.
But that was my ego. Like, your behavior is all about me right now. All right? And you're not going to do that to me. All right? So I see that right now. As I'm sitting in the reunion, and I have, this is also unhealthy, but it's really hard for me to let go of any of these conversations. Like, I don't do a bonfire and then I go home, phew, that was cool.
I mean, that's human.
I'm just a wreck for the whole next day until I can process it. But I'm watching everybody talk to him, and his behavior, he's stoic. He just doesn't back down. He's doubling down, and there's no emotion. I have worked so hard to try to get to the underbelly. It's not there. And in that moment, I say, you know what? I failed you. All this time, I'm looking at you and watching the pain you're causing, and I never once asked you what pain are you you're coming from. And I'm sorry. And I just want to cop to, I was irresponsible in this. I was too much about judging, and I didn't say all this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, so I know that you're being able to compartmentalize this, or being unable to show emotion or
connect with someone in front of you
in a way that feels like a connection, has to come from something. And I asked him, who hurt you? And he got silent and choked.
Yeah.
And then I kind of was upset I didn't do that on the first time I met him.
Yeah.
Because loving people, this is detached loving them without judgment gives a space for them to be their version of broken without feeling like I can't show you this. Like I don't have to steel myself against the world.
Well, and also keeps you from being so emotionally wound up in whatever shit they're going through. Like you were saying, right? It's like being emotionally controlled by their behavior. Oh, wow, I can't believe,
And then justifying.
Right. And in the way that you react to them too. Well,
it's just, you give me these lines about the seasons, my season of this and season. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Did you have no remorse? Did you have no feeling? Or at any time was Erica in your thoughts? But that's, again, judging as opposed to going, let's talk about you and see what your little boy is crying out for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a better way to go about it, I think.
Love it. And I like what you said too about justifying your reaction, because just being people who have in the past done a lot of Bachelor recaps and really harped on people thinking of like justifying, well, look what this person did on the screen. So I am going to talk 2.5 hours of shit on them, right? Because that's justified.
They deserve it.
Right.
And by the way, what's the trap of justification is when we choose to do that and it's justified, there are plenty of people that will back you up on that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, see?
And this all comes from this place of being kids too, and this idea of punishment, right? Like, and that we play throughout the rest of our lives. We punish people if they don't do what we want them to do, behave the way we want them to behave. We revoke this kind of love or affection. We take away these opportunities because they're not doing what we want them to do. And a lot of us grew up with that, and we play it out in our relationships to strangers and intimate relationships and everyone.
We throw our pain all over everybody else so that nobody sees it. And what I always tell the girls on the show is the thing that you think you're hiding from your people, the secret that you don't want anybody to know, we all see immediately.
Yeah. So might as well get it out there, right?
Be real about it.
Okay. All right.
The question. I'm gonna turn the air on.
Okay. Okay. There's some good questions.
Just so you know, as a perfect example of the opposite of everything we're talking about, how many different outfits did I try on before I came here? Like, you have no idea how much power I gave away.
I see the blue and the black with the blue and the black.
And then the shoes are looking so nice.
4. I had the orange and the pink with the salmon, but then I felt like, salmon's not really my color. And am I trying to like show them I'm a sneakerhead because that's cool? Like, what is that? And
you look fantastic.
I did notice sneakers immediately. Okay, I will already identify with these questions. A lot of the issues is that we look at cheating as a monolith.
First of all, let's look at the word.
Yeah.
It's already a bad or a good. It's just an is. It's an is. And it really is not anything to do with the other person. I mean, us.
Right.
It's not. They did what they did, and it is only what it is. And now we get to choose to label it cheating. But actually what it is if you were to label it with the words that it really is that you did this physical act with them.
Or maybe not physical.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You had this interaction with them. That's what happened. Right? But we like to call it cheating.
And I don't like it.
Cheating means there was a game and there were rules and you broke them.
Right.
Yes.
There's not a game. It's real.
Okay.
And you didn't do it.
And that's what most of these, I'm going to say that's what most of these questions come down to. Does being intoxicated make a difference when someone cheats? Is cheating ever justifiable? Is there such a thing as financial cheating? Is it cheating if someone's texting and flirting with other people if you haven't discussed boundaries?
Let me answer 12 of these with one thing.
Yeah.
First of all, I hate the word cheating because I hate any words that make it bad or good.
Yeah.
But let's use it as the vernacular. Stepping out of your relationship, cheating is anything that you do in secret that you know would hurt the person you love.
Now that,
Ooh, I got chills.
Right? Let's get simple.
Yeah.
So if you're gambling and not telling them, you're doing behavior that you know you're doing secretly that would hurt them if they knew. And the lie of, well, I know what this is, and it's just easier. I'm protecting them by not letting them know my behavior. Happens on this micro level. We do it all the time. Just little things like, don't tell Robbie I gossiped. Right. It's all good, but she gets pissed about it. I don't want her to hurt, so, I know what it means, but better I don't tell her. So anything we do that if they saw it, would make them feel bad is some version of not being cool.
Yes.
Right?
Although there are times where that's mutually agreed upon to do something, but then that's not a secret because you've already agreed that person can do it, even if they don't know exactly what it is that you're doing, right?
You've had that conversation already.
Look, it really comes down to, I'm going to make choices, and you're going to make choices. Some of these choices are empowering, some of them are disempowering. Some of them are born out of an authentic, joyful, healthy selflessness expression. Some of them are driven straight from the pain we talked about, all the little things that we've yet to uncover that we harbor in our body that makes us react to everybody else, right? But all of those are choices that we made, either the choices being made for us by that pain body child, or we've consciously made them, right? We're not doing it at you. You didn't make it happen. Although many people who do these things will blame the other person. Well, I had no choice. She's been withholding love.
Right.
Okay, well, you did have a choice. You could have communicated that love is being withheld from you, and it makes you feel things that make you want to have behavior that would hurt you. And then, if you're at an impasse, then also not having any meaning is we're not best for each other.
Yeah. And also doing that evaluation like we've talked about. Could there be a reason why my partner is withholding love from me? You know, like, is there some way I'm not meeting maybe the needs that they might have? Maybe I should start there.
It's so difficult because my wife and I go through this all the time. I got a lot of issues when it comes to intimacy. And they come from when I was really young and adorable. There were a lot of older girls that were kind of wooing me, and I wasn't mature enough to understand it. And yet, I never called it anything like abuse. But now, as an adult, I can look back and say, if I wasn't mature and ready for it, when we're with someone that we love, and we love ourselves, and we want it to be healthy, we have to do the awkward. And we have to say the things we feel, even if we're not sure what they are.
Yeah.
Or why they are. You know? And what's really difficult is if in a healthy relationship you were to say to me, why are you withholding sex from me?
Right.
Immediately, I would need to defend and react because that would mean I'm less of a man.
Right.
Somehow.
Yes.
So now, it's not your responsibility to couch things in a way that I can hear them. Right? But that's what's difficult.
Right.
Is that when you speak your truth, it's very difficult for the other person not to react to that truth.
Well, and also that's not necessarily like I think there's oftentimes we say things that aren't actually rooted in fact. They're rooted in your like assumption, right?
Almost all things.
Because saying like you're withholding sex, well, you're perceiving that person is withholding sex.
What's actually happening is we've had sex in these times and not had them in these times.
Right.
Withholding is a projection.
Right.
Yes.
That's me only being able... The person saying that is because it's so much easier to verbalize things as the victim of, it wasn't my fault. You know, this is happening to me. It's such an easy and specifically human thing, and not animals. Animals don't do this. That we must have a reason for it, and we must, it's narcissism. We must have caused it because we run everything.
Right.
Because what happens in the narcissist's mind, this is unscientific and unread, caveat, scientists and those of you who've worked to know this stuff, please correct me. This is just what I'm discovering. I feel like the narcissist in me, that's a better way to say it.
Well, and also narcissism, that's when we're talking positive, negative, good, bad, you know, like narcissist is bad, narcissist is. Yeah.
None of us are good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, there's no good or bad. We're all just these
Existing,
flawed human things trying to survive. But for me, narcissism is when my role in the big picture of the universe is distorted. So in other words, in the big picture of the universe, I'm a speck on top of a speck on top of a speck. My time on this planet and everything that I think that I'm contributed or haven't, or my tombstone or whatever, is not even part of history. Not even a nanosecond of history. It has no impact. But in my narcissist mind, at the small level, I have some control over that. And at the larger level, as you start to go further into narcissism, I control everything.
And therefore, everything has to. So if Jess doesn't text me back in 3 hours, it's a little bit of narcissism, right? Where I go, I must have done something to piss her off, right? Because there's this assumption that
I saw it immediately.
Out of all of the things she's doing in her day and thinking about and executing, I must be the reason why she didn't text me back in 3 hours. Instead of being like, well, maybe I don't have that much power over everything. I mean, it could be true, but
that's
definitely
the
was.
correction for me.
just so you know, yeah.
And this is a perfect good bad conversation, because the correction for me in narcissism, what I say to myself is, you don't control anything, which, by the way, could be a negative way of looking at things.
True.
You have control.
Sure.
You're powerful.
Right.
No, fuck that. I'm not asking for you to quantify it.
Right.
I'm saying it's a relief for me to know that, who are you kidding? You're not controlling anything. It's not your job.
And I get what you're saying, because even if I pissed her off, that actually phrase isn't even right, because I did something and Jess's reaction was that she didn't like it, right? I didn't even have control of her response.
Right. The phrase...
I was just living and she was...
I pissed her off.
Yeah.
Is a non-thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Where do you see pissed?
Yeah.
There's your behavior and your behavior.
And
And then you verbalize this, she's pissed off, or she did this to me.
And pissed
when in
me
fact,
off, yeah.
all you did was eat your salad and not text. And all you did was text, and that's it.
Yeah.
But what happened was, it wasn't I texted, it was I texted and she didn't respond because she doesn't love me. And I received a text and I ate a salad, but what it really means is she's wanting too much from me, and I don't, she's too needy.
Yeah.
None of those are real. You ate a salad and you texted. That's what's real.
Yeah.
And that's impossible for us to get our heads around.
Yeah, no, it's really hard. Okay, question then follow up for when you were saying that your definition
I'll
of
take the
cheating.
question.
Yes. Your definition of cheating was loosely if you're doing something in secret knowing that might hurt the other person. Now, here is the whole hard thing about cheating. How then do you move about the world if you don't know everything that might make the other person upset? And this is something I talked about on my Instagram a few months ago, because someone was saying my husband was in a sex chat room, is this cheating? And someone was like, yeah, girl, whatever. And then I was saying, well, some of the hard thing is you don't know what might hurt the other person. And sometimes you make assumptions based on what would or wouldn't hurt you. My partner was anonymously interacting sexually with someone anonymously online. That wouldn't hurt me. Therefore, I assume that wouldn't hurt him. And so sometimes there's a big disconnect in that. So how do we move about the world when maybe I genuinely am doing something I don't think to tell my partner because I don't think it's going to hurt him. And then he finds out and it's like, you betrayed me. And then, there's that too.
I don't know the answer, but let's figure it out together.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of, obviously there's someone having sex with someone, and then there's someone texting someone.
Now we're getting back to the rules conversation.
Exactly.
So there was a time in my life when we were younger when if a dude was having a bachelor party and it would end up at the strip club, that I had gone. I don't go there anymore for a lot of reasons, none of which have to do with my wife.
Yeah.
But first of all, I think we're being a little obtuse when someone says, I wouldn't even know that hurt us. While I am not a proponent of us putting too much into the vibe, we do know to some degree when we're being sketchy. But the level that we know we're being sketchy and we admit to being sketchy, there's a big gap. Some of us is here, some of it's here, but we all have it. Okay? I said I wasn't going to have any bread, because we said we're going to do this. And I had a crust of bread, a bite of bread, but come on, it's not a full piece. But that's sketchy.
Yeah.
And I know it's sketchy.
Yeah.
Right? So in the case of what you're saying, truly that I did behavior and had no earthly intention of hurting, it wasn't a secret.
Well, sometimes they're not even a thought, right? Like, it's like sometimes
if
you're
it's
not
truly
even
that, then guess what? You get to apologize for it.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to be responsible for how it's received.
Yeah.
except to authentically reassure, here's where I was at. I understand now what that is for you, and I can vow to have different behavior out of my love for you. But what I really would probably say is, don't hustle a hustler yourself.
Sure.
You know when you're being sketchy.
Sure.
And you're drawing a line to how far sketchy can I be. And I say this on the show. It's like your mom said, don't leave the couch until I come home. So you take the pillow of the couch and hold it to your butt and go in the backyard. I didn't leave the couch.
Right.
And the dudes on the show do that shit to me all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't kiss her.
Right.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, dog. You know exactly what's up.
So then where does this fall in terms of the whole rule conversation too? So what if, what if you're with a person, and I don't, let's say Jess and I are together. I don't care if Jess goes out and flirts someone, maybe like brushes their arm, whatever. But Jess cares if I go out, a guy buys me a drink, we have a chat for 5 minutes. Like, how do you bridge this gap sometimes where there is a disagreement and a person does want to impose a rule upon you that you're like, no, fuck that. I want to be able to chat it up with someone who buys a drink for me.
Well, let's start by changing the language a little bit.
Sure.
Rather than imposing or being imposed upon,
yeah,
let's call healthy communication.
Yeah.
Something we never put on our plate as a possible resolution.
Right.
Right? We love to shade and be shaded.
Right.
But we don't particularly like to communicate honestly. So, in that example you gave, she does something that she didn't think would trigger you, and it triggered you. You're allowed to say, that behavior made me feel. When I observed that behavior, here's what I felt.
Yeah.
Didn't make me feel.
Right.
Here's what I felt.
Yeah.
You could say, I was unaware.
Yeah.
And here's what I felt. And then you can decide how important it is to you. If it's important to you, then you may make the choice to say, thank you for communicating. I'm sensitive to how that made you feel, and I want to communicate to you what my intention was in it, and it's important to me. Yeah. And I'll do everything I can to let you know that I love you and you're supported and you're safe. This is an important part of my life. But more realistically, I was unaware of that effect it has on you for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you to fix it, but I'm willing to not have it to have you.
Yeah. Well, where do you go? I'm playing devil's advocate now. Where do you go in that conversation? To you're like, in your head, you're thinking, that's fucking unreasonable, and I want to do that. And I don't really care. They shouldn't be pissed off by this, so I want to do it anyway.
Right. So that's the line you have to draw. And this is why relationships are messy.
Relationships are hard, by the way.
Not hard. They're impossible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Unless you allow your relationship to be messy as fuck.
Yeah.
And imperfect, which it is anyway. It's not. That's back
kidding?
to the narcissist.
Right.
Like, I'm going to allow it.
Right.
The better word to say is you recognize and accept that we're going to fuck it up daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. It's not fucked up.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's that we have a connection that anything you do, I feel, and anything I do, you feel, and that's what love is. And some of it, and the feelings are unreal, and some of them are ones we like being tickled. But laughter and throwing up are almost the same body move, but one we fucking hate and one we fucking love.
Yeah.
Unless we're being tickled, and then the laughter hurts. Right? So it's relationship to the thing, not relationship to one another. So the only way to navigate it is to have space, which is communicate. This was a good talk, you guys. It doesn't have to be resolved because there's no there to get to. But honest, authentic communication gives insight and understanding, and then we have to take our ego out of it to really understand it and accept something that isn't acceptable to us. What works for her doesn't work for you. Your boundary, back to that, is you get to say why, what from the past brought it up, and maybe there's a point where you're going to do what Robbie and I talk about is that our lives are like a ball with spikes all over them, which ironically looks like COVID. And my job is to try to file off the spikes so I just become a ball that nothing catches on. It doesn't tear your sweater, right? So the only way to do that is to say, I feel this way when this happens, not you made me feel this way.
Yeah.
And then the other half of that has to make a decision also communicate, and then gets to make the decision of what's important, right? Mm-hmm. If that behavior is so important to me, I'm going to have a boundary of, I'm sorry, this is me. Mm-hmm. And the risk is it may not work for the other person, and that may be the end. But more often than not, if the love is true and the authenticity and the willingness to, like for Robbie and I, we're not perfect with one another, but we're not going to fucking leave. That's not the option. So then my only option is to be in a constant conversation of not compromise, but acceptance of and letting go of things I thought I wanted that aren't working for what I really want, which is peace and joy. Right? So this thing that I did that hurt you, that I was unaware and I wasn't trying to hurt you, but you took it that way, that you've now communicated to me, I now have to make a choice of how important it is to me in the big picture of the things that are important to me.
Yeah.
What's most important to me is effortlessness, joy, health, love. Those things are cool. And if that's making a wrinkle in that fabric, I got to say, what am I fighting for? Like the strip club is a perfect example.
Yeah.
I like going to, not me, but someone will say, I like going to the strip club. I'm just going in and we're having beers and okay. Certainly dudes are visual a lot. It's not emotional. I get to make a choice. Is that environment one that makes the person I care most about comfortable or uncomfortable? And how important is it to me in my overall happiness and love? Mm-hmm. And the fact is, for me, it's just not that deep. It's like what I was saying. When you get clear on your intention, the plan shows itself. You make choices that are in line with the intention, which is I want a happy. I recently had a lot of drama in my life. I'm really close to my kids. We had a falling out that I'm not going to get into because some things get to be private. Mm-hmm. But at some point, I said, I don't see an end here, all of us personalities, that works for me. So let me declare my intention. Here's my intention. My intention is sometime in my future and in life that on holidays I sit in a chair in my pajamas watching my son and his wife and kids and watching which they don't have, and my daughter and her husband and their kids, all fictitious so far, and my wife and our pets, all enjoying the hubbub and craziness of a holiday and presents and food and all of that, and I'm just sitting back and loving that. That's my intention. So anything that's not in line with that intention has to go away. Grudge can't be there. Everybody's cool but that one. Casting that intention, like who plays those roles, it's not up to me. That's my intention. Guess what happened New Year's Eve? I went camping with my daughter and her boyfriend, my son and his fiance, and my wife, in the rain, in Big Sur, freezing cold.
That sounds miserable.
And it was my intention. Exactly actualized. All of us sitting around a campfire, everybody's loving one another. There's no agenda other than that. There's no drama other than that. And I'm sitting back sipping a bourbon and smoking a cigar and going, that's what I intended, and here I am. Mm-hmm. Which meant, back to the strip club, not strip club, I had to let go of my justifiable hurt and resentment towards A, B, C, D, or E. Justifiable and supported by everybody around me. Mm-hmm. I'm right. You're wrong.
Sure.
But in the big picture of this conversation, I get to choose. Do I want to hold on to the rightness, or do I want what I said I wanted? Happiness.
Yeah.
I let go of the rightness.
Yeah.
I love when you use the term just unresolved, like movement in a relationship. Like just the idea that you're not, where's the destination where we're going? We're not going. We don't have a destination tomorrow. So sometimes just the idea of working through things and not the rush of like, we got to solve it now, just to move through that organically feels like very freeing.
On top of that is when things are rough, financially, health-wise, life is messy.
Yeah.
That shows up for me in having to remind myself that it's all temporary and I don't own any of it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's temporary. What my reaction to it is uncomfortable. Can be comfortable if I accept it, and it's also temporary. And I can guarantee you that my comfort is going to be discomfort later, and my discomfort is going to be comfort later. And I'm constantly telling people, whether they believe in God or not, but just use God as a term. You're suffering right now. If God or somebody came down, God or Morgan Freeman came down to you and said, 6 months from now, on June 13th, 2022, that thing you're worried about today will have resolved itself. I know the future because I write it, and I'm telling you now, it's handled. How would you be right now? You'd be different. Okay, let's not make it airy-fairy. Let's go scientific. Now go back in your life to every moment you thought the world was going to end in your life and how you felt and what actually happened. Let's do data. What happened was it passed and you're still here. So I'm not giving you airy-fairy. I'm giving you science and history. Historically and supported by science and data, every time when you thought the world was going to end, it didn't.
Yeah.
So chill the fuck out.
Totally.
Sit with uncomfortable for a minute. Okay, it's just a sensation.
Totally. And sometimes you just got to let shit go without resentment, right? And just choose
Which is
to.
my life's battle. Because who am I if I'm not right?
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean,
Who am I, more importantly, if you're not wrong?
right. It's like, it's either one or the other, right? It's like either I'm right or I'm hurt and you need to fix it, right? There's like always those two things.
Look what you did to me. It's not my fault. I'm the child. Which goes back to this helps me understand it. When you're a kid, I think about all the things I tried to figure out that I can remember when I was like 7, 8 years old, like how things work, like babies and all that, and what logic I created with the parts I had, and I get graphic about it. Like the first time I realized how like sex works. Do you know how long I looked at myself saying, where does it come out? Because that's pee.
Yeah.
Does a pore open up? Does the head go like this and then, right? I share this, which is a little uncomfortable.
Latch.
To say that as kids, we're constantly trying to piece it together, but we don't have nearly enough information. So the modern parent likes to sit the kid down and explain everything and give them a choice. And the old parent say, don't do that. Why? Because I said so.
Right.
I happen to believe that that's a good answer. And I'll tell you why. You do your own parenting the way you want. I fucked up my own kids. You get to fuck up yours.
Yeah.
What a kid knows, when a kid's acting out, they're looking for, like a person, where's the wall? How far can I go?
The security.
Because the wall, like my crated dog, right, makes me feel safe. And what I do know is that I don't know enough to understand. And what I need to be told, I'm arguing, I read this from someone else, it's not mine.
Sure.
I need to be told by someone that I trust, it's not on your plate. You don't have to make this decision. I know what you don't know, and I'm going to handle it until you're old enough to know. So when I tell you don't do that because I said so, actually, that isn't negative. That gives you the peace of mind of, oh, so you're telling me I don't have to worry about it? You got me? You got me, Mom? Whew, that's why I'm fucking screaming at you, so that you impose this on me so I feel safe. Swaddle me.
Yeah.
That doesn't end when we're adults, but that's really insightful for us as adults to look at. That's how we formulated everything we think is logic that's fucking us up now. Is because we didn't have enough information and we made those choices at 6 and we're holding them as true at 50.
Yeah, and having
Do you
someone
understand?
Yeah. It does.
We're doomed to failure because we've been trying to figure it out as children our whole life and we don't have enough information. And what's really paradoxical is there's nothing to figure out. There's no one's conspiring against us, and there's no prize. There's no game to win. There's no finish line.
And with that, folks, that's Mark Walberg in the flesh.
Wow, Mark. I mean,
I'm going to go, just so you know, I'm going to go home now. Now that my ego's feeling really awesome, I'm going to get in the car and go, oh my God, all the things I said. I said nothing about the penis. I said about my intimacy issues. Oh, God.
that's our most
you're being
favorite
authentic,
thing. You're being
right?
authentic. Yes.
Love it.
I love you guys.
Mark.
Love it. Love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all of the wisdom and conversation and for officially adopting me once we wrap this.
Done.
And
I'm claiming you as dependent on my taxes right now.
thank you so much. So where can the people find you?
So I guess, Instagram is Mark Walberg, no H.
Absolutely
By the
no
way,
age.
My Instagram consists of people like you sending me messages that are beautiful and lovely, and I love it, or showing me pictures of them eating a hamburger at a Wahlburgers.
Yeah, you're like, that's not me.
All day, every day, all the time. And I'm like,
My favorite thing ever was when you said, when we were like, why wouldn't he change his name? And you're like, I came first. Why would I change my name?
let's talk about ego. When I first started in my career in the 80s, which could have been the 1880s at this point, it doesn't fucking matter. I said, Wahlberg's a terrible last name, maybe I should change it. But my ego and being bullied and all the stuff I shared earlier that I wish you'd edit out, I wanted to make sure the people in high school knew I made it. So I said, I'm keeping my name only to find...
So they know.
Right. So the universe, which is comical, has now made me remotely successful, only as successful as I've allowed myself to be because I hold myself in low self-esteem. But in the process, has a more successful person with my name and another person doing a dating show that's bigger than mine that looks like me. So I have just low self-esteem myself into anonymity that I'm trying to overcome. You can call me whatever you want. So Mark Walberg on Instagram, Mark L. Walberg on Twitter, no H in Walberg. And I'm going to attempt to do a podcast in the near
Yes.
Let's do it.
I'm praying to God you guys will be one of my first guests.
Totally.
Oh, would love
You know
to,
it.
and we'll
You
make
know
sure,
it.
Broads, that we'll let you know. We'll post about it when you start this podcast.
Yeah.
Let me say that. And then also Temptation Island.
Okay.
Can we watch it on Hulu
Oh, I forgot.
right
Let's do
now?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess, no, not on Hulu. I think, can we? Can you? I think on Peacock.
Peacock. Okay.
I
You
think,
can on Hulu if you have like a certain add-on, I think.
For real?
Some shit like
I'm
that,
supposed
yeah.
to know that.
Yeah.
Seasons 1, 2, and 3 are out there in the world.
Ooh, and they're good.
But season 4 is coming.
Season 3, I was just
Season
saying to
4
Gray
is-
last night.
Fire.
Oh my god.
So
Best one yet?
emotional. So emotional. And it's the boys.
Oh, can't wait.
I'm like, if reality tears are currency, boy tears are 3 times the value.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Yes, give us the
Maybe
tears.
5, you know? Definitely. No, season 3 is so good. I was just telling Gray last night that the story of what are the 2 hot ones from that season? What are their names?
They got engaged,
Yeah.
Yeah.
who I just got invited to their wedding, and
You
they asked me
did?
to officiate
Oh,
And I
that is
think I'm
so
gonna.
lovely.
You should.
because I love them.
Yeah. What are their names?
Kristen and Julian.
Oh my God.
That, what a story.
Their story was so good. I was like,
How many of you, like me, thought Julian was going to be a full-on dick when you first met him?
Immediately.
It's only because he's in good shape, and
Yeah.
that makes me feel less than.
I know.
Yeah,
and
he's
then,
hot, and
And
you're
then
like-
you watch him through the season. You're like, this is the only guy who's got his head screwed on straight. Jesus
like, he's so
Christ.
lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
They're both
shoot.
awesome.
Guess what?
What?
Talk about plans and stuff.
Yeah.
The ADT security person that I promised my wife I would meet with is at my house right now.
Oh, no. Well, we're getting you
Okay,
out.
we're
That's not
wrapping.
going to be fixed. That's not going to be fixed.
Mark,
Thank you so much,
We
Mark.
love you, and Broads, we will chat soon.
Chat soon.
Yeah, broads.